Hey VC, how's everybody doing out there in vinyl community land? I'm Jack. Welcome to Vinyl Martini. As the title below says, these are my record finds from Long Beach, California. But right off the bat, I want to show off my new t-shirt. My goddaughter brought this back from Hawaii for me, so thank you, Miss O. Not a typical Hawaiian t-shirt, but a welcome addition to my collection. And yeah, again, thanks for that, Olivia. First of all, what was I doing in Long Beach? Well, the short answer is we were going on a cruise. And Long Beach was where the cruise started. We went on a 10-day cruise down to the Mexican Riviera. I don't want anybody here to think that I am a cruise fan. I'm not. I think that's for old people. But the reason we went on this cruise is long and involved, and I don't want to take up time talking about that. I will at another date. So we flew down to Long Beach the night before the cruise took off. We were in our hotel by about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So I had some time to kill, and I got on the internet and found some local record stores, found out where they were. They happened to be about a 10 to 12 minute walk from the hotel. It's really funny in California. I went up to the desk and asked them how long it would take to walk to where the record store was, and never ask anybody in California how long it takes to walk anywhere because, well, I don't think anybody walks anywhere. But they were pretty helpful anyways. And anyways, let me talk about these records that I got. The first one is from a record store called, oh man, why didn't I look this up before? Just give me a second, folks. Just give me a second. Fingerprints record on East 4th Avenue, I think, in Long Beach. These were all in the records that I'm going to first show were all in the 3 for $10 bin, so they're all bargains. Fantastic. They had a fantastic selection. Great record by Ralph McTell. This is my first record by Ralph McTell. He's basically an English folk singer. He's been around recording since 1966, I think. His song that he's really most well known for is a song called In the Streets of London. That's been recorded by a number of artists, but this is a 1970, I'm going to say 1972 recording, produced by Gus Dudgeon. All sorts of people on this, a lot of arrangements done by Tony Visconti. Rick Wakeman's on here. Caleb Quay is playing guitar. All sorts of people. So it's not just a folk record. It's not a typical folk record. It's got an electric backing on it. These tracks are fantastic. I'm so impressed with this record. Last week I was at the record fair and I found 2 more Ralph McTell records. So I am going to be collecting this guy. So I highly recommend him, Ralph McTell. Anybody who's watched any of my shows knows that I am a big John Renbourn fan. Picked up a couple of his records that I don't have. The first is The Black Balloon, which is a collection of instrumentals. He's a traditional folk guitarist, used to be in Pentangle. Great record. These are basically traditional songs. Yeah, fantastic to have another record, and it's on Kicking Mule Records. Kicking Mule Records is a great label. You see anything on Kicking Mule, pick it up. It's usually worthwhile. Second is another John Renbourn album. This is the John Renbourn Group, and it is live in America. It's a 2-record set. He plays with his touring group, which includes Tony Roberts on flute and pipes, John Molyneux on dulcimer, mandolin, fiddle, etc. Jackie McShay from Pentangle adds to vocals on this, and Keshav Sath plays tabla. So this is recorded in San Francisco in 1981. 2-record set in the 3 for $10 pile, another John Renbourn. Great to have this in the collection. Next, a band that I've always known about, I just don't have any of their records. I always thought that the Climax Blues Band were, I don't know, I just thought they weren't for me. This is a lot different than I thought, just a bunch of white guys playing old blues numbers, but this is very jazzy, a lot lighter than I thought. Yeah, there's some great songs on here. Amarita is good, Losing the Humbles is good, Before You Reach the Grave. Very, very pleasantly surprised, and what a great cover, eh? Climax Blues Band. A name that everybody's, or not everybody's familiar with, you should be familiar with him. This is Matthew Fisher. Matthew Fisher, to refresh your memory, used to be the organ player for Procol Harum. He broke with Procol Harum after about 5 records or so, went solo. I've never heard any of his albums before, and I was really, really pleasantly surprised to hear this. It's not a Procol Harum record, but you can hear the organ playing is definitely Procol Harum. The songwriting is excellent, more like a Kinks record, really, or maybe Procol Harum and Kinks mixed together. Very, very capable songwriter. A decent singer. I'm going to be looking out for other Matthew Fisher bands. There's the back cover. It's on RCA. It's a gatefold. Good record. Next is my last 3 for $10 record is the band The Yellow Jackets, Jazz Fusion. Found out about this band from the North Carolina Vinyl Picker Art in North Carolina, obviously. He's a big jazz fusion fan, and this was really cheap, in great condition. Very good album, Yellow Jackets. Now these were not 3 for $10. I think this was $8.99. Found another Kris Kristofferson record. I am a big Kris fan, and this one is called Repossessed, backed by the Border Lords, his longtime backing band. This is a great record. It was recorded in 1984, I think. 1986, excuse me. Fantastic songs. Mean Old Man, Shipwrecked in the 80s, They Killed Him, Anthem 84, Love Is the Way. Kris is in fine form here. I don't know how many Kris records I don't have, but this is, I'm getting at the end of the road here. Always happy to have one that I don't have in my collection. So Kris Kristofferson. And next up, I've been looking for this artist for a long time. He's relatively unknown, but really widely regarded in music circles. This is Mickey Newbury. He's a singer-songwriter. I don't know if he used to be based in Nashville, and he got sick of the Nashville scene. He moved to Oregon in the 80s, I think. Let me see, I just have some notes here. He is, I call him a singer-songwriter, but he's almost impossible to pigeonhole. He wrote songs like Just Checked In to See What Condition Your Condition Is In. That he was a big hit for Kenny Rogers in the first edition. That was a great song. He also wrote American Trilogy, which is based on 3 19th century songs. Elvis Presley used to include it in all his live shows, and it's a medley of the songs Dixie, All My Trials, and Battle Hymn of the Republic. Elvis had, I think it got up to about 66th spot on the Billboard charts for Elvis. Mickey Newbury never sold very many records. This is a 1971 release. I have one other Elektra release by him. I really enjoyed it. I've had it for 45 years. Really hard to find a Mickey Newbury record. I found not just this one, but I also found this album. Put that back. And this is Mickey Newbury live at Montezuma Hall. One album is live at the hall, like it says, and the other is a re-release of Mickey Newbury's Looks Like Rain. The live side is fantastic. It's just him and a guitar. Great songs, great in-between songs patter. And Looks Like Rain, the studio album that's included with this, is just fantastic. Mickey Newbury, look out for him. Next, I went to a different record store that was just around the corner, and it's called The Record Box, and I thought I'd give them a shot. They had in their cheapy bins, their cheapy bins were like $5 to $10, but I've been looking out for Jerry Lee Lewis albums, and I found another one. This is on Mercury, so it's one of his country records. What's he got on here? He does a lot of rock songs, rock and roll songs. This is Chantilly Lace, Don't Be Cruel. But he also does great versions of games people play, Walk a Mile in My Shoes, Me and Bobby McGee, I'm Walking, Jerry Lee Lewis, The Killer. What a voice. Great country and western singer, that's for sure. Next up, a band called Flash. This is their first record. Show the cover here. I talked about these guys, I don't know, about a couple of shows ago. Peter Banks, who used to be the lead guitar for Yes on their first 2 or 3 records. This is the band he formed after Yes asked him to leave. And last time I was talking about this Flash album, I was saying they really sound like Yes, but Tony Kaye, who used to be the keyboard player for Yes and left around the same time that Tony Banks played, is not credited on this record, but he is all over it. So I take back what I said. I would say that Yes, after they kicked these guys out, sound more like Flash. Because I think Flash had the original sound, the rights to the original sound of the Yes, that Yes sound. Anyways, you know what I'm saying. I hope you know what I'm saying. It does sound a lot like a Yes album, so if you're happy with that. But this is a great record. Fantastic, fantastic. Some great songs on here. Lifetime, Monday Morning. Colin Carter does the singing. He sounds a lot like John Anderson, but you know, a lot of people do. Yeah, keep your eye on this. Keep your eye out for this. Flash, great record. Next up, completing my Elton John collection. I don't have to buy any more Elton Johns after this. This is Caribou, released in, was it 74? Of course, the opening track, The Bitch Is Back, kick-ass song. The second side is absolutely, side 2 is actually fantastic. I've seen the Saucers, Stinker, Don't Let the Sun Go Down on Me, and Ticking. Produced by Gus Dudgeon, of course. That completes, I don't have to buy any more Elton John records. I've got all the good ones. And I used to see this in the bins all the time, and I've been looking for it for the last couple of years to find a decent copy, and I finally got one, and this one was $5, I think. So there you go, Elton John. Next up, a band that is pretty forgotten. It's the Asylum Choir, 1966 album, and the Asylum Choir basically consisted of Mark Beno and Leon Russell. I think this is probably the first band that Leon put together after he left as a session player in LA. I mean, it's all right. It's the label says it's a psych record. I guess it's a psych record. I don't know. It's a little bit uneven. Welcome to Hollywood is good. Thieves in the Choir is good. I'm a big Leon Russell fan, so that's why I picked this up. I knew that I would never ever see this Asylum Choir record again. It's on Smash Records, which is a division of Mercury. I love Smash. Anything on Smash is good in my book. There's a little bit of unevenness on this record. It was released in the wake of Sgt. Pepper's, so a lot of bands were jumping on that kind of little soundscape album. But anyways, it only cost me $10. It's well worth it. Next up, thanks to Michael at Ricefield Records, he reminded me of this artist, and this guy was all over the FM radio charts in the early 70s, and that is Lee Michaels, organ player, keyboardist. This is an album called Barrel. I've never seen this record before, but so it's just a bit of a blind buy. It has a gatefold. Really, really good record. Not a bad song on here. He's very, very gospel, bluesy, influenced. Great songwriter, Lee Michaels. And the last record I am going to show is, I guess, the find of Long Beach, California. And that is Buddy Miles and A Message to the People. Great, great cover. Great gatefold. The cover, the person who did, the artist who did Bitches Brew, the cover for Bitches Brew, did this cover. This is a fantastic R&B soul record. Not a bad cut on it. He's on fire on this record. Such a great record. If you ever see it, you must pick it up. I've got a couple of Buddy Miles records. They're, at least in my neck of the woods, they're really hard to find. I've got two, I think. This is my third. I'm hunting down the rest of Buddy Miles. A Message to the People. So that's all I got, folks. Thanks for watching. I want to thank all my new subscribers. Man, my numbers are slowly getting up there. If you like what you saw today, why don't you think about subscribing? Hit the like button. It doesn't cost you anything. And as always, if you've got any comments about any of the records I've shown or comments about anything, I'd be happy to read them and respond to them. So till next time, thanks guys. See you later.